Hey guys, if you want more of this podcast and more of me, please subscribe to me on Patreon. You can just type in patreon.com/introverted black girl. There you will hear more of my thoughts, my opinions. I'll be saying things that I can't say on a podcast on Patreon. So if you want to become a patron and hear and see some more of me, you have to pay me my money and become a patron.
It's my money and I need it now!
According to the Washington Post, an article written in 2020, it says in 1968, a typical middle-class black household had $6,674 in wealth, compared with $70,786 for the typical middle-class white household. Also, it says that in 2016, the typical middle-class black household had $13,024 in wealth versus $149,703 for the median white household, which was an even larger wage gap than previously recorded. So now, according to an article written by Harvard, it says that in a 2018 analysis of U.S. incomes and wealth, written by a few economists, it says that they concluded that the historical data also revealed that no progress has been made in reducing income and wealth inequalities between black and white households over the past 70 years. And then don't get me started on the collective wealth of black women and how statistically black women are the most educated, but yet the most poor amongst all of the communities here in America. So when I see that economically black people are really at a disadvantage and nothing has been done to try and close wage gaps, and nothing has been done over the past 70 years to increase our wealth, I'm trying to understand how pretty privilege is a thing that black people like to focus on today. And it's so crazy how y'all like to use these words so loosely. Like I keep hearing, oh, there's black privilege. And then now I'm hearing that we have pretty privilege too. I'm trying to see where does this pretty privilege and this black privilege actually show itself. The definition of privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. And to be privileged means to not be subject to the usual rules or penalties because of some special circumstance. Like I said, all of these black women, according to statistics, black women collectively are the most educated, but yet we're the most poor. We have the least amount of wealth. So when I hear a black woman talk about the black women who have this pretty privilege, I'm trying to figure out where is the privilege showing itself? Where is it? Because it's not in our bank accounts. This pretty privilege, it's not in our bank accounts, and it's definitely not in opportunity. So I'm trying to figure out what privileges are these people referring to exactly. Like I see women on the internet crying and talking about how they just don't feel beautiful and all this foolishness, all these campaigns to be beautiful, all of these new products that come out for us to try and be beautiful. And I'm like, really, what is the point of being desired? Because if we're trying to change ourselves to look good for the person who would typically not like us, what is the point in that? And we sit here and we really try to harbor on these ideas that black women are just not liked because of white supremacy, and it's because of this standard of beauty that was created by Europeans and us having to live up to the European standard of beauty. This is why people think we're ugly, and black woman, you're beautiful, you're strong, beautiful, independent black woman, and you're Nubian queens and all this foolishness. It's starting to come off like we're trying to convince people who think that we're ugly that we're cute. And what's the point in that? Because that's really what it's about, because I don't really see no type of action past that. And I'm sorry to break it to y'all, but there are just certain people that's going to think you're ugly. And also there's going to be people that thinks you're pretty. Either way, it doesn't matter because it's not going to change your bank account. And that's what I think that matters. The fact that you're able to provide for yourself, the fact that you have a roof over your head, the fact that you can make payments to the bills that you may have, those are the things that matter. The fact that you can feed yourself, You can buy the things that you need. Those are the things that matter. You can provide for your kids. You can take care of your children. And I guess somebody would say, well, if you want to be in entertainment, then yeah, it will be important to be pretty. But then I would argue that I would say that somebody needs to probably be more unique than pretty when it comes to entertainment. But that's just my opinion. But again, if you're trying to be in entertainment, then of course I can understand why you would want to be pretty. But this pretty privilege, I would like to say that it does not exist. Because even in entertainment, being pretty does not guarantee success. I would also like to argue that pretty privilege, like being pretty, especially if you're a black woman, I believe that it puts you at a disadvantage. And let me tell you why. Excuse me, y'all, I'm like I'm losing my voice. The little bit of talking I do, my voice just like goes out the window. So I see beautiful women in my neighborhood. I see beautiful women when I was back in New York all the time. But those beautiful women were struggling. And the woman that, society would say isn't really all that cute based on what they think, what they say now, there's like this thing called featureism. According to what society would deem as beautiful, a lot of women who are successful, they don't really fit that mold. They're the ones making the hiring decisions. But you see beautiful women who have a bunch of kids and struggling. Y'all see them in the hood. They exist. Where's the pretty privilege in that? I can only see pretty privilege being a thing when it comes to getting men or getting some type of person. Maybe you're LGBTQIA plus community. You want that another person romantically. Because that's the only time when I can think of pretty privilege actually meaning something. But I'm trying to understand, is it really meaningful? That we try to like bring it into like black culture and black problems and say that, oh, now there is a sector of black people who are getting over because they're good looking or they fit European standards. Because I see a lot of black people who fit these societal standards of beauty or fit this European standard of beauty, and they are not as successful as they should be. And they're highly educated people. How about the fact that the men that y'all trying to get, I'm talking to heterosexual people, the men that y'all trying to get that are in these places where they're doing the hiring, they don't even want to hire the pretty girl. Because why? They know their wife gonna give them a problem. Or the people at the job is a bunch of funny looking people, according to European standard of beauty, and they're gonna feel insecure with this pretty woman who's educated being in leadership. Let's call it out. There are people that have problems with pretty people in leadership. You can't be cute and educated and young and try to lead a bunch of people who are insecure. And I believe that the majority of this world are full of insecure people. I was on a job with this person who, when we went out, someone asked her if she was my mom. She was my coworker. Been a problem ever since. It's been a problem with me and this girl ever since for no reason. Every minute she telling on me for some foolishness. I did nothing to this girl. That's the pretty privilege y'all talking about? You go to the store. How many times if you've been an avid listener to me, you know that I always have problems going to these stores. I shouldn't even be going to these stores. I really need to stay. Listen, word to the wise. If you don't want any problems, please stop going to problematic stores. I don't know if I'm the only one out here, because I don't really hear people talking about this too much. Because whenever anyone's talking about going to the store or customer service, it's always about the Karens of the world, the people who are on a customer service line giving issues. But there are people who come to work and give people an issue just based on their insecurities. And yes, I am a regular person. I ain't no celebrity. I'm not somebody that's rich. I have to go to these stupid stores. And these things that happen on a micro level really gets to me sometimes. Because I'm like, people really take their problems that they're having with themselves, and then they think that that's good justification for why they treat people badly. And I think that one of those insecurities, or one of those things that fuel these like aggressions that I face every day when I just go to the store, or when I'm at work, or when I'm in class or something like that, it's because people think that people have this pretty privilege. They think that the person next to them that they feel is prettier than them is going to get farther in life. It's just like that crab mentality that they say stemmed from slavery, right? But I think that I always say this, I think that we're past the point of ignorance where we need to figure out where exactly is all this animosity between blacks coming from. Like, we're past that point. We all know it's white supremacy. The problem is that people are now making the choice to continue the effects of white supremacy. So when people say that black women are just seen as not attractive because we're heavily influenced by European ideologies, racist ideologies, I'm trying to understand, now that we figured that out, what are we going to do about it? You know what I mean? Because one, we're not going to change the ideas of people who just going to view certain people as ugly and view certain people as pretty. And it just seems like we're all just fighting because we want a piece of that privilege. The people that talk about this, I remember watching this video. This girl had the most colorful hair. And I know it takes a lot of time to get your hair to a certain color. And I'm going to tell you why I'm even going down the list of what this girl looks like. So it takes a lot of time to get your hair to certain colors. Like if you want a pastel hair color, it takes a long time. You got to go from step 1 to step 2, step 3, step 4, 10 steps. You got to lighten your hair. First of all, that's damaging to your hair. I'm just saying that there's a level of care that goes into doing stuff like that. Then the makeup is piled on. The jewelry, all this. And I'm saying this because people take time to change the way they look. And there's also this thing going around that if you do that, it's an act of self-love. It's showing your creativity and blah, blah, blah. You know what it really is? If we really want to be honest about it, it's extremely vain. It's vanity. And for all you Christians out there, what does the Bible say about vanity? The Bible says that it's a sin, one of the deadly sins. Even for people who read the Quran, it speaks about vanity in a negative way, in a negative light. It warns against doing things in vanity. Listen, vanity is just seen negatively. So when I see that this person does all of these things to try and look completely different than themselves, the makeup is so piled on, the hair is so pastel. It's like you could just tell that their actions are showing somebody that's very vain. Through your actions, you're showing me that you really want that privilege. You want it. You want whatever this make-believe thing is that they call pretty privilege. But yet you're talking against it. Listen. I'm not speaking for pretty privilege. I'm just saying that it don't exist. And I'm talking to the people that keep talking about this idea of pretty privilege. I believe that they're the ones who really want it. Y'all want this privilege thing so bad. It don't exist. And then my sister was saying, she made a good point. Now the pretty people who actually did the things that they were supposed to do in life, and all the pretty women who have all the education and worked hard and did get an opportunity, now it's going to be that they only got it because of pretty privilege. And I've heard that before, where it'll be pretty woman and the first thing they'll be like, oh, who she slept with to get there. Have y'all heard that before? Even about Kamala Harris, I've heard that. I know people are upset with her right now, but you can't take away the fact that this woman is highly educated and have also received a lot of success because of hard work. She didn't just wake up one day because people think she's pretty and become a lawyer and our first female vice president. So when it comes to black women who are pretty, who's done the right things in life, I always hear them try to diminish their merit by saying that, oh, she probably slept with somebody who's, did she suck? Oh, she just got in because of the way she looked, I'll even hit a light skin thing. This whole imaginary pretty privilege is such a disadvantage for people that it even stems to children. There's this, she wasn't a child, but she was a teenager. There's this girl. that my sister was working with, because she works with teenagers. And this girl, right now, she's going to Fordham University. This girl was a straight A student, like literally the best student in the whole entire like organization that my sister works for. And then she went to this high school in New York. It's called Brooklyn Tech. It's one of the specialized high schools in New York. Like, you have to be exceptional to get into those schools. There's a test for it and everything. And this girl, she wanted to be a part of this competition that they were having, so that she can get some money, so that she can put it towards her tuition. All this girl do is study and talk about school. I even know her. I don't even work at the place. But she's pretty. She's a very good looking girl. So now when this competition was happening, my sister was on her side and saying that, like, there was a discussion between my sister and her coworkers about who they think is going to win. And her coworker told my sister that the only reason that she picked this straight A student, mind you, she's the only one from her organization that's in this competition that has straight A's and is going to Fordham. He's going to tell her that the only reason she picked her to win is because she's pretty. And then the person he picked is like this failing student. I mean, she's trying, but at the end of the day, she's not all that great with her academics. She got to buckle down and do her work. Right? From a teacher's perspective, buckle down, do your work, do your homework, and next time you'll be great, okay? But like in the real world, like, girl, are you serious? Anyway, but my point is that her coworker said that she picked a child, basically. She's a teenager. Picked a teenager because she's pretty. These people are working with your kids. These insecure people who believe that there's such thing as pretty privilege, they are working with y'all children. And they will hold them back because of their insecurity and this fake idea of privilege because you're pretty. My sister always tells me how he always tries to ignore her, don't want to really give her opportunities, try to leave her out. And it's like, really, you do that because you think she's pretty? And this is a man. This is a grown man with a family and a wife. Yeah. Grown black men have a problem with pretty women. Pretty black women. And then how dare you, on top of that, try to be a smart one? Stay in your place. Maybe I'll make this into a part 2, but my mouth getting dry and my voice is like going. But listen, what do you think about it? What do you think? Do you guys really believe there's such thing as pretty privilege? And if you do, I would like to know, where does this pretty privilege actually have positive benefits? Let's have a discussion about that. I have a Patreon. So if you guys want to come on my Patreon is Introverted Black Girl Podcast. I have Twitter, of course, that's IBG Podcast, so you can at me at IBG Podcast. I'm on Instagram at the IBG Podcast. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, I have a YouTube. So all that information, you probably heard it in the beginning anyway, but yeah, I'm on YouTube. Search for Introverted Black Girl Podcast. And anywhere where you want to reach me, please let me know your opinion on this. Do you think it exists? And if so, please tell me the positive benefits of it. Till next time, bye.